Multiplication games. Fun ways to practice. In this video, there are lots of fun ways to practice your multiplication facts. In the following slides of the video, you'll see a few examples. Have fun! We'll look at multiplication battleship, 4-in-a-row multiplication, multiplication dominoes, and a multiplication dice game. For multiplication battleship, you sank my battleship. It's a 2-player game. You'll need grid paper, or you can draw out your own grid. Markers, pencils, or crayons. You'll need 2 different colors. Once you've drawn out your grid, you will need to mark the locations of your 3 ships using the letters B. You'll make 4 B's. S. You'll make 4 S's. And R. 3 R's. You'll see an example of it in just a moment. Make sure that you move them apart on your grid, and do not let your partner see where your grid is. That's the whole point of battleship. Once you've placed your battleships and your ships, you will choose numbers. For example, if you choose 6 and 3 to copper a location, then say 6 times 3 equals 18. The player will then look at their grid, go over 6 up 3, and tell you if it was a hit or a miss. If it was a miss, then put an X in 6, 3. If it's a hit, color in the square. You can also write an H in it if you choose to. The first player to sink all 3 ships wins that round. New grid paper, and get new grid paper, and you'll have another round. Happy playing! Here are the examples that I was referring to. So C, you would mark out your battleship. You'd mark out your ship. And you'd mark out your rowboat. And as you call out your numbers, this shows a hit or a miss as you mark it. And here's what your grid can look like. On your grid, you can use 2 grids here as it's shown, and mark your ships here, and as you call out on the other ship, you would mark your enemy ships. Have fun playing multiplication battleship. Now, let's look at 4-in-a-row multiplication. It's similar to Connect 4. Everybody loves Connect 4. You'll need a multiplication sheet, which you'll see in an example in just a moment, 2 dice, and 2 colors of markers, or you could use pennies with heads and tails. 1 player use heads, 1 player use tails. You're going to roll the dice, multiply the numbers together, find the total on your board, and color in if you see that answer on your board. For example, if you rolled a 2 and a 4, you would say 2 times 4 equals 8. Look and see if you have an 8 on your sheet and mark it. Then the next person will continue doing the same thing. The goal is to color 4 in a row in your color. You're using the same sheet, so you want to also use strategies to block your opponent to keep them from getting 4 in a row. Here is the dice multiplication 4 in a row. Next, we have multiplication dominoes. All you need to play multiplication dominoes are dominoes. As you're playing multiplication dominoes, what you'll do is put all of the dominoes into the bag or the container you're using. One at a time, players will take turns pulling a domino out of the container. If you pull the domino out, use the dots on the domino to form a multiplication array. For example, 3 on one end of the domino and 4 on the opposite end would be 3 times 4 equals 12. You would draw an array showing 3 times 4. Show it to your partner, let them check it. If it's correct, you get 1 point. You continue this way with each player taking turns. The player with the most points at the end of the game wins, and your game is over when all of the dominoes have been chosen and pulled out of the bag or the basket. You do not replace them as you pull them. You put them to the side. And here's just a picture that kind of shows you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Here, this domino is a 1 and a 6. So you would say 1 times 6 equals 6. You draw out an array of 1 square tall by 6 wide. And that would be correct, and you get 1 point. Okay, multiplication dice game, bingo. You would need 2 dice, a multiplication grid, I'll show you an example in just a moment, and you would need markers. You would roll 1 dice, and you can multiply the number that you roll by 2 or by 3. For example, if you roll a 3, you could do 3 times 2 equals 6, or you can do 3 times 3 equals 9. Color in the answer with your color. The first player to get 3 in a row wins. And here is an example of the multiplication dice game. So see, these are just some fun ways that you can practice multiplication facts. And everybody loves to play games, so it doesn't make it seem as bad when you're studying and practicing. And the more you practice your multiplication facts, the more quickly you'll be able to recall them when you're using them to do other mathematical work. Have a great day.